And we had a request from the chairman of the ZBA. And this is resolution number 110 of 2017. Whereas the zoning board of appeals is established by town law, and whereas the zoning board of appeals performs duties and exercises power and authority with regard to zoning, zoning administration, and land use regulatory controls as prescribed by ordinance and state law. And whereas the chair and members of the zoning board of appeals were appointed January 19, 2017, and now therefore be resolved that the town board makes the following appointment effective June 15, 2017. Dan Herzing, term 2017 to 2020, to be made first deputy chair. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Last month, we discussed and approved a resolution number 105 with regard to Summerfest. And that was the cordoning off of the jointly owned village and town parking lot. They gave us the wrong date. They gave us the date of July 9, so the resolution was written for that date. So we have a new resolution that states that July 8 is the correct date, Saturday, July 8. So unfortunately, I have to read this over again. Resolution number 105. Whereas the town of Chatham, the village of Chatham, own the municipal parking lot off of Main Street in the village of Chatham. And whereas the Chatham Area Business and Arts CABA organization is hosting the annual Summerfest in the village of Chatham on Saturday, July 8th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Request the use of the municipal parking lot for property for music, entertainment, tent, stage, and will allow egress from the parking lot and accessibility to the handicap designated parking. And therefore the town Chatham board approves the blocking off of the municipal lot for music, entertainment, tent, stage on Saturday, July 8, 2017 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for Summerfest by CABA with completion of a facilities use application, certificate of insurance provided to the town clerk prior to the event. We do have that on. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do you want to go over anything more on this water source report? Okay, we all understand, we all had that presentation. So now to make it a part of the comp plan, there are a number of steps that we have to take. This being the first one, and that's for calling of a public hearing. Town of Chatham, June 15, Resolution 11-2017. Whereas the town board of the town of Chatham is considering the New York Rural Water Association report, Town of Chatham Source Water Protection Plan, be formally made a part of the town-wide comprehensive plan. And whereas a public hearing is required before this action can take place. And now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Chatham hereby directs that a public hearing will be held by the town board of Chatham on July 6, 2017 at 6 p.m. at the town of Chatham Town Hall, 488 State Route 295, Chatham, New York, to hear all interested parties regarding the proposed addition of the Town of Chatham Source Water Protection Plan as a part of the Town of Chatham Comprehensive Plan. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to publish the notice of public hearing in the official newspapers as designated by the town board, and that copies of the said Town of Chatham Source Water Protection Plan are available for review at the town clerk's office. Can I have a motion and a
So
second?
moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Into the resolutions, so, Resolution 108, to accept the financial abstract as presented to pay the town's bills. Can I have a motion and a second?
I so move.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. This is resolution to approve the minutes of May 4 and May 18 as submitted. I did submit changes on the May 4th, so that's right here. Thank you. This is resolution number 112 of 2017 to approve the minutes of the town board meeting of May 4 and May 18. Can I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Amendments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Resolution number
That's something we have to take care of next year.
Yeah.
That's why I moved deputy first.
This is resolution number 113 of 2017 to accept the financial abstract as presented to pay the town bills. Can I have a motion and a second?
I move to do that.
Second.
Any discussion? Everybody took a look. There was a signature that needed on the June 2.
Took care
We
of it.
took care of it.
I think everybody looked at it, but they didn't turn the page.
I explained it to them and they signed it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, this is a resolution for Park Day. Resolution 114-2017. Whereas the recreation, I'll let you read it, John. Oh, there you go.
Whereas the Recreation Commission and Recreation Director requests the town board approve a special community recreational and fundraising event August 12, 2017 from 12 noon to 5 p.m. to be known as Park Day at Crowley Park on Route 66 in Chatham to encourage and foster community participation in the town-owned Crowley Park. And whereas funds were not appropriated in the Recreation Department 2017 budget, but are available in the General Fund A contingency fund to cover the costs, and whereas the Recreation Commission's request to the General Fund A contingency account temporarily loan $3,000 to the Recreation Department budget to underwrite this special community recreational and fundraising event known as Park Day. And therefore, the Chatham Town Board approves the special community recreational and fundraising event at Crowley Park on August 12, 2017 from 12 noon to 5 p.m. and the temporary loan from the General Fund A contingency account to the Recreation Department of $3,000. Motion made by...
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, I think it was the beginning of May, we had Bill Borsier, not Bill Borsier is the owner of the company. We had the David Aiello make a presentation to us on municipal software. I talked to them, put together the figures you have in front of you in order to get this up and running. And this is a good time, they explained, to start implementing the program. This is going to take between 2 months and 4 to 6 months to get it fully operative and streamlined. One of the good things about this program, I talked to Jim Quinn, of course, he's very interested. Dan Horst, very interested in it, because we're going to find information from him. But it's also going to be a tool for the zoning board and the planning board in order to bring out data. There's all the GPS maps on it, floodplains, lot of information that is just not readily accessible in the program that we have now. So by the end of this year, if we institute it now, we can have it up and running, integrated, and we don't have to pay for the BAS system, right, BAS system,
I think that's what they
which the dues come out in February. So they'll be using the BAS system all through this period of time until they can make the whole change. So this is resolution number 115 of 2017. Whereas the building department is in need of a new software program which was not allocated at the time of the 2017 budget. When the 2017 budget was adopted, and whereas funds are available in the general fund A contingency account A1990.400 to cover the cost of the municipal software suite, whereas the town board of Chatham was presented on May 4 with a presentation of the municipal software proposal, which is a client-server cloud-based management program that integrates all aspects of the building, planning, zoning, engineering, fire inspectors, and assessor, and many other areas. And therefore, the Chatham Town Board approves the investment of the municipal software as follows. The initial licensing, which includes training, is $6,650. The implementation cost is $2,500. The maintenance, support, and hosting is $1,330, which is a reoccurring expense on an annual basis. One standard iPad, $260, and then a Verizon data plan for the iPad, which from August through December 2017 would be $125. So that's an investment of $10,865. Be it further resolved that $2,173 be transferred from Fund A190.4 to the Assessors Department Equipment Expense Account A1355.2, and that's 20%. $6,519 be transferred from the Fund B Unreserved Fund Balance to the Building Department Equipment Expense Account B3620.2, that's 60% of the investment. $1,086.50 be transferred from the Fund B Unreserved Fund Balance to the Zoning Department Equipment Expense Account B8010.2, that's 10%. And 1086.50 be transferred from the Fund B Unreserved Fund Balance to the Planning Department Equipment Expense Account B8020.2, and that's 10%, for a total of $10,865. So I will make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
So how much is this, is coming out of our reserve that we had, that original $80,000 that we put aside, some of it's coming out of there? I also heard you mention it's coming out of some of the other budgets. Their budgets were high enough to cover this, and they're not, by taking this money out, we're not going to short their, somewhere else in their budget.
No.
How much was out of the contingency fund?
The expenditures have been allocated to different departments. 60% to the building department, 20% to the assessors, then 10% to the planning board, 10% to the zoning board. So the building department is Fund B, the planning and zoning board is Fund B.
Aren't they already over their...
No, it wasn't a part of their budget.
Right,
We
so
didn't budget for it.
so we didn't budget for it, so we know we're taking it
Coming
out.
out of the reserve of the B fund, but under the assessors department, they're in the A fund. That's why it's broken down that way.
Right.
So it's two different funds.
It's the unreserved fund balance.
Right, it's still, no
where the
matter how you
money's
look at it,
coming
it's still
from.
coming out of the unreserved fund balance, which
Right.
But
we
not
did-
con-
So that reserve balance was 36,000. With this expenditure will be leave about 25,000.
what the accountant think of that?
Yeah, they're okay.
You know, he was trying to keep, not let us drop down below a certain point, and I think we got getting pretty close to, the number he didn't want us to go under.
Who go under? The fund? Deplete the fund? Well, we're halfway through the year. Tammy, Lisa reviewed it. Any other discussion? We've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you. I think this is going to be good for everybody. Okay, we'll come to the second part of public comment. Public comments?
Quiet public tonight.
How about the board? Do you have any comments?
Not public comment, but I saw that letter was in my box from Mayor Curran. Did we address that? Or are we going to address that tonight?
If you want, sure. We had a meeting, I can't remember the date. What does that date say on the front page? 2 Fridays ago.
June 8th?
Yes, with Mayor Curran and Judge James Border Foster and Walt Simonsmeyer. Walt Simonsmeyer is going to be the new judge for the village. And we discussed lease. Sal had reviewed the lease, and as that letter states, we requested a 3-year lease, not a 6-month lease. And we'd like to know what their time frame is as far as becoming ADA compliant. They really couldn't say. And then James had some requests, and I think it was outlined there, clips for the windows, electrical hookups for the air conditioners. So I really wanted to memorialize the meeting and present it to you, this board, and I assume he'll present it to his board. So we're waiting to hear back. Basically, Tom Curran said, put it down, let me know what you want, I'll run it by my board, and their attorney prepared the lease, so we'll let him make the revisions.
With the lease, again, it goes back to the same thing, because I'm opposed to leasing that, having us in that building that we know it's not ADA compliant, we know there's been issues on top of issues in that building. We've been put on notice about these things. I'm just really concerned about if something happens, we know that we're going to be in trouble. We haven't given any more thought or put a committee together to look at another courthouse or another, we need to really start giving some thought. The village has pretty much told us, multiple meetings we've been to, that I've been to with them, that they have nothing in the near future where they're even going to be able to afford to bring that building to ADA compliance. So we're just sinking $1,500 a month rent into this building that we see no return on.
It's rent, you don't get
It's
return
rent,
on
but if
rent.
we were to put that same rent money into something that we could own, that would be ours, that would be compliant and do something better for us,
We'd have to float a bond.
then we
You want-
should
you
be
wanna
looking
spend-
into
You
it.
want to spend $1.5 million or $2
We could spend
million?
$1.5 million in a lawsuit. And that's what I'm
Is
gonna
this- We have public comment now.
Is this still public comment? Yeah, I'm a strong believer in being ADA compliant, and it's an ongoing issue at the North Chatham Library all the time that we're trying to figure out how to address. Is the town interested in having another court with us jointly, besides the Tracy? Instead of just the town creating its own court, could the town and the village?
Town court together?
Yeah, and a new ADA compliant building.
Yes.
Are they interested in that? Is the village interested in that? Or they're stuck on the Tracy?
They're pretty well, they want that Tracy building for what it is, but that liability would fall on them if they're gonna continue to use a non-ADA compliant building.
Understood.
You're putting people up on that second floor. I mean, now what they're having to do is if there's an issue, they have to locate and use a courtroom that's downstairs. And, you know, hold court there if there's an ADA problem. But that only addresses the staircase and getting upstairs to the courtroom. It doesn't address the bathrooms. Doesn't address the entrance to the building. There's a small handicap ramp that goes up the side, but even that isn't completely up to ADA standards. It was put in as a temporary thing to help get people in wheelchairs and help give them access, but it's not approved.
Understood. And is there another building in town, in the town Chatham, or in the village, I guess? Does our town court have to be in our town? Could it be in Ghent?
We need it in our town.
It does, that's a requirement.
Has this building out here ever been used this time?
It's too small. They get up to 100 people.
They got 100 people.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a very town budget.
You want to drive through, right?
Last night in traffic court alone, he had 57 people in traffic court alone.
I
This
don't know if
occupancy
it
in
was
his
that big.
building is 44. That doesn't even count the criminals court that he had to have following his traffic court. So it's been well proven that this building will not handle the court system.
Well, we've got to come up to ADA compliancy. I mean, they own it, so they're going to be the first ones responsible.
Right.
But the town shouldn't be encouraging non-compliance with such a significant, law, especially because they have that much volume. They have that many people who are ADA in need, in need of help. So
I just comment if I might. They're trying. There's not a doubt that in fact is what's going on. They've just gone to go forward with probably starting a big roof project there to tighten the building up. The elevator and lift are also on the plan. None of this can get done in a day. To try and get qualified for grants, they're investing probably another $30,000 in architectural drawings for this piece. They're probably into it for about $50,000 already. So it's not something that they've shrugged their shoulders at and said, oh, we're not going to do this. They are going to do it, but they have to do it in a way that they get the biggest bang for their buck. They're aware of the problems, and it's not like I say maybe 5 years ago where everybody just talked about it and nothing got done. This is actually moving forward. The elevator may not be the first part of this program, but there is a list, and you can see it on their website as well. So it is something that they're trying to move forward. I can't tell you more than that, but just don't think that nothing's going on.
no, I'm not suggesting that they're not intended or doing their best.
I just want everybody to know, that's all.
They just can't afford to do what needs to be done. They've told us that. That's why what the clause has been is we're talking. They did a study of that at one point, and at one point to rebuild that building was over $2.5 million.
Well, that's a dream sheet. I mean,
But even-
anybody comes to you, it's
Take
a dream sheet.
Take that dream sheet and cut it in half. The village
And-
still can't afford it.
And they've actively, they've hired a grant writer. They have a great architect that's been involved in these programs before. And they're, I would say, in the next 6 months or so, we'll start to see whether all of this pays off. But like I say, they are actively, it is a concern of theirs. So, of course, you do what you want, but I just wanted to explain what's going on at the Tracy.
Thanks, Mike. Rick?
I missed a beat there, or I don't remember the number. What was the amount of rent that you were proposing to pay to Tracy?
We have been paying $1,500 maybe for the last
Forever. Okay.
10, 12 years. They've asked for a rent increase to $1,650.
Is there Is there other space in town that's ADA compliant that could be rented for $1,500? This building over here's got a big rent for sign on it. The quilt thing, yeah. The vault, is dwelling
Are the new firehouses?
You need offices,
You do.
you need
that's the-
computer.
Yeah.
Storage.
You need
Security.
security.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's nothing in town that could be
The
rented?
thing of it is when this building was purchased, the gentleman and the people had the foresight to think about it, that thought was to have a courthouse here on this property. It was thought to have done. It's either whether you extend this building out and do something with it, or you put another building on the property. I mean, there was thought to that. This isn't something that's brand new that we're just giving thought. This property was bought with the thought to expand more town buildings here. And with the cooperation of working together with the village and combining assets, resources, if you want to, however you want to put it, you could have, the building departments could combine planning, zoning, you could put more office space in here where you don't have the room with the Tracy to do all these things. You can combine the village, some of the village, things like that, along with the towns.
Excuse me, we made that proposal.
Yeah,
And
but we had no
it would
place to
fit.
put it.
No, I'm sorry to disagree with you, but Kate Johns prepared a very good schematic without changing the footprint of the building, other than the exterior addition of a lift, elevator
On the Tracy.
on the trace.
Right.
And the village does not want to go forward with that. That
So,
merging of offices would have brought, number one, a $400,000 directly from the state, and also would have qualified the town and the village for all these programs that the governor is put together for shared services
Right, I agree with all
and
that.
restoration.
We're
So-
just disagreeing about the spot.
I'm disagreeing about our location. Instead of doing it at the village where there is not a building for it, it would be part of our building, a new building here.
Maybe we should just merge with the village. Yeah.
Don't bring up
You
the.
know,
Village.
They've been through that, and they don't want to do that.
Can't we use eminent domain on them?
Wait, what is
It's
our
always a very
military?
popular solution to things.
This is like the village's worst fear.
There's way too many governments around. That's a public comment. Way too many governments around.
Is this something where we should create a committee to look at, you know, we did this a little bit, because as I recall, Barton Judas did come out with,
we spent $8,500
right,
on
and
that.
we had a plan that created, but maybe go back, look at that, and then discuss with Mike, with the accountants about bonding and find out, is this something that we can do?
Well, that's why-
Or $1,500 over the
But that's why, you know, there's something about the Tracy that lends itself to being a courthouse.
Yeah, it's a great courthouse.
Yeah. The-
Once you get to the second floor, it's a great courthouse.
Yeah, but that's why if we do have some idea, like Mike said, you know, if it were within the next several years that we could plan, just having a lift would make the big difference. It's not that we're asking for a new roof or anything like that.
Well, we came close to the new lift with that grant that was actually in our hands, and then the actual design became a problem in terms of the integrity of the building. Is that true, Mike?
Yes,
Yeah, so it was close, but
beyond me, that was village government, you know.
I just knew you would know about it, but
I fought for that lift.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess my
Still
perspective
needs the
is,
bathrooms.
So beyond the lift, is there any other problem with the Tracy as our courthouse, or ADA compliance, or do we like it in general?
Everybody likes the old courthouse and they just won't get past that. They love that old building, and I have nothing against old buildings. I just have a problem with not being ADA compliant, and it's an issue. It has to be, we have to stop pushing it to the back and just think nothing's gonna happen. When it does,
So, no, but my point is, if the town is the town in a position to be providing the village with some money to make the Tracy ADA compliant, would that be cheaper than putting an addition on this building? I mean, this is the sort of cost-benefit analysis you gotta go through. The town could grant the village money specifically towards the lift if they move it up their priority list and promise to get it done within the term of the lease. Now, I don't know if that's cheaper than an addition on this building, but it might well be. And then that solves that problem, and it's cheaper for the town in the long run.
I just thought after last year that we really didn't have the money for that, all this stuff.
What, the town or the village?
The town. Last year, everything was so tight, and I mean, we looked at under every nook and cranny to cut money, and now I don't think there's money. I don't know. I don't think there's money here for the town to turn around and say
Well,
we have $500,000 for you. Or something.
There's not. I mean,
Right,
I'm not
yeah.
saying that it would definitely have to be something we'll have to go out to the voters to vote on. I mean, it's not something that we should make that decision. But we haven't given any more thought to it. We just sort of just dropped it, you know, because
It hasn't been dropped.
there was
I mean, we've had
it's been
dialogue.
dropped. I mean, there's been certain factions that wanted to stay in Tracy. There was factions that didn't want to stay in Tracy. And after that, we just left it. No one's bothered to pick it up and continue with it to find out. Once they got tired of it, no one's made more discussions about it. The Tracy's just going along as it is. We're paying their rent. We're just looking the other way.
The Tracy's been actively, well, geez, it's probably almost 2 years in planning to get to this point. Again, government and things don't move fast. I would say between the next 3 to 5 years that you're going to see these things. Can I promise? I don't have a crystal ball, but there's not anybody out of the people that have been involved for 2 years that don't want to see that happen and aren't working actively to do that. We've given a ton of time to this project. So, again, it's not that they don't want to do it, and I'm just speaking from where I am in there. But things do take time to get organized and in place to go forward with something that big.
Thanks, Mike.
Well, I think the town needs to look into what would be a cheaper, better, longer-term option. An addition here, or another building somewhere else, or granting the village money to make the building ADA, you know, not all of it, but a significant chunk of money to the village to make the building ADA compliant if they can come up with a timeline that works for us. One of those is going to be cheaper than the others and serve our needs.
I think part of it is because they're actively trying to find and pursue grants, and until they have exhausted all their grant opportunities, and they know, okay, or maybe they get a couple, you know, and then what is the balance that's left? And once we know what that balance is, then both the village and the town can start figuring out how to address that balance. But right now, like Mike says, I mean, they're trying to find the money. And what else? You need to try to spend other people's money first, you know, through grants before we start asking the taxpayers. But this is a situation that's eventually there's going to require some courage, both by the village government and the town government, to say, we need this, it's going to cost X, we're going to bond it for 30 years, and this is what the cost will be. That's eventually what's going to come and happen. But it's not going to happen this year, you know, so. And that's what's been going on. It hasn't been anybody stalling or anything, it's just, we're asking a lot of volunteers to do a lot of hard work down right now in the village. So, you know, we have to sit back and wait because we're just the leasee. We don't own that building.
Okay, I'm going to come
Well,
up.
I just have a comment about that, Cindy Boxing. I mean, I agree with what Rick said, that, and Henry, I think that's fine to say, that they're working on it, but the town really hasn't addressed it actively to say, if we are eventually going to bond it with the village, can we bond giving money to the village to work on the Tracy, or do we have to only bond new construction? I don't know the answer to that. I mean, do we know what the options are? Because even though we're just the leasee, ADA laws are very important. I got an email this week from somebody who was trying to find a place to do a presentation in town, and she found out that the Morris wasn't ADA compliant, and she said, "What is?" And I said, "Good luck." So they're gonna do it at St.
Town
James
hall,
Church.
yeah.
You
Town
know,
hall.
their presentation, and I mean, this place is, but they needed a bigger space. I don't know why we wouldn't have, the town government, wouldn't have some kind of formal looking at what are we gonna do about this beyond continue to work with the village and wait for them to get through the grants and all of that stuff. To at least say, what are the alternatives? Maybe that's been done, but it kind of feels like it hasn't.
It was done.
It has been done. Three years ago.
Maybe they need to be
2 years ago.
restored, you
Yeah,
know, reviewed and.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Because it feels like,
You know, I'm sitting here very quietly, and it seems to me that there are so many issues that have come up since I've gotten involved as a spectator and coming to board meetings, where I'm hearing it was done, we did it before, but then on the other side, I've heard, well, things didn't work out before. So you can't have it both ways. On this issue, I feel that we're passing the buck to the village. If it has been done, it still needs to be updated, so there needs to be a new report, a new investigation, whatever has to be looked at, whether it includes helping the village out, building a building here, expanding this, the options. If Henry's right, if there is a lawsuit, doesn't matter what you do or what you haven't done. Well, it does matter what you haven't done. The money's going to go to some organization or some individual because we are not making any place accessible.
One question I have is in terms of the lease, is there a way to combine the issue with the lease?
Oh, we had that discussion. The ADA,
Well,
that, we had that,
Well-
4 years ago, and we didn't have a lease for a year and a half,
well,
because we couldn't get it resolved.
right, so my question is, do we want to sign the lease unless there's some type of, there's obviously not going to be a resolution, but at least some process that we say we're signing this as a contingency, that there's some organized way of moving forward with
Well, that's
this.
what the letter is asking.
But we're looking to
So
sign
we're
a
asking
3-year lease.
A formal letter asking the village to give us a time frame and some idea of what's gonna happen and when. And that's what was asked in the meeting.
But are we signing the lease to an understanding of what their response to that letter is?
We haven't thus far, no.
Well, that's what I'm raising as a potential kind of move forward with this.
But, you know, I mean, if we don't sign the lease, I mean, for one thing, we have to have a court. You know, I mean, it's not like we can say, oh, we're just gonna take our court and walk away. You know,
We have no place to walk away
yeah.
to.
And
We
this is
do.
what concerns me.
We just need to put more thought into it.
Yeah.
No, we
There's,
don't.
there's court systems out there that change your court schedule to lessen the amount of people at one time.
Excuse me, but the DA dictates that. We used to have court 4 nights a month, and only 2 nights a month will the DA come to this court now. And that's been an issue with the judges, and they couldn't get it changed. So yes, there were less, well, there was less activity on a monthly basis, you know, each night, but now it's all compressed into 2 nights.
I mean, that's something we need to look into also, is why we can't have, why the DA is not giving our court systems.
Because that's what he dictated within all the courts in Columbia County.
And all
I
the
don't
courts,
think he has,
and all the courts aren't happy with it.
Right.
But, I mean, that's something that the supervisors at the county could be addressing for the towns.
Or get elect a new DA.
Well, I'm not getting into elections, not getting into that, but as our supervisor who discusses that stuff at the county level, that might be something that
Yeah, we should do that.
the county supervisors are always, that's what they're doing, that's what they're supposed to be doing for us. if there's an issue at that level, it should be addressed.
Seems to me that if the town board is going to be forced into signing a lease for 3 years or for whatever period of time, you need to have an escape clause. Because otherwise, we're going to be here 3 years from now and nothing's going to get done, or not enough is going to get done for it to be ADA compliant, and we would have spent all that money. So it would seem that in this period of time, there should be some committee reviewing what you've already done, updating it, reporting back, and if you're forced into signing a lease, make sure that there's a good escape clause for the town board.
We may be able to, when there's an ADA person who needs, this type of building, maybe have the court adjourn it to an ADA type meeting.
Well, they go downstairs.
So they can go on the,
They can go on the first floor.
Yes.
okay, but the bathroom's still.
But the bathrooms,
Well, they made the one restroom
Yeah.
compliant.
It is
It
compliant.
is
Oh, it is?
compliant.
Yeah.
The ladies' bathroom, they expanded the doorway. So,
Just the men have a problem.
well, it's
It's
a
a bathroom.
unisex. It's right,
Non-specific.
right, it's
Non-gender.
unisex.
We're gonna the
Non-gender.
transgenders.
Non-gender.
Same bathroom.
In North Carolina,
Signs.
go to North Carolina, they don't compare. I'll talk to the Office of Court Administration, just to see if there's any options or any available things. I mean, I dealt with this ADA issue in Petersburg when I was doing some work up there, and they had a building that wasn't, and the feds just don't come in and just shut you down. They try to work with you, they have meetings, and they do anything they can to just find reasonable alternatives. But you do have to be aiming there. You just can't say, I hope it happens, and close your eyes like
Oh, we did
the
that.
Wizard of Oz. So I'll talk to court administration, see if there's any
The other-
options. And even if they could, we could move it to outside the town. I've never heard of it because the jurisdiction is within the town. But what's the closest good courtroom to here? I mean, what if we were to,
Well, it's Ghent or Kane or Kinder.
right?
Can you get into Kent?
Are there any-
Just, oh, yeah, ramp.
Kent, yes, Kent has the ramp.
Yeah, you can get it again, but it's not big enough.
Martin Glen is Kinder,
Yeah,
plenty big enough.
I don't know how big, I don't know how big the courtroom is.
The problem is you've got
You have to.
court clerks that have to be
No.
tied into their system, the court
You gotta go to
clerk
work.
system. There's a computer system. So you can't just say, oh, well, let's move over to Kinderhook for tonight's court meeting. It's not that easy.
No, not at all.
Okay, is there any other public comment? All right, I'd like to make a motion for executive session for attorney-client privilege. And can I have a second, please?
Second.
I have one piece of, that I wanted to raise before we went to executive session, which I think is a public matter. I'm not sure what you're getting at. Is this
This is reference to a CSX legal
Okay.
communication,
Okay,
attorney letter that I received.
okay.
So I would, can we invite Joe?
Joe,